It's no secret that the beautiful places we love are in danger. Much damage has and still is being done to the world's ecosystems. And we know that urgent solutions need to be adopted to restore them. Yet, many of us don't know what those solutions are. Or we feel like we're too small, too young, too busy, or even just not enough to really create a meaningful difference. The word sustainability has been at the center of our conversations around environmental activism and creating change for a long time. We've been taught that the word sustainable means greener, healthier, better for the earth. We picture windmills and solar panels and smiling environmentalists holding signs on poster boards. But what if I told you that sustainability isn't enough? That the way we've been approaching change and talking about saving the world is far from actually working. Hey everyone, my name is Sierra Robinson. I'm a 17-year-old farmer, permaculture teacher, and activist from British Columbia, Canada. Another thing about me, I don't like the word sustainability. I've always felt an amazing sense of connection to the earth. I grew up playing outside, working in the garden, running through the forest, catching frogs, and just observing the abundant life around me. Yet, even at a young age, I was very aware that what I loved so much was being destroyed. I saw old-growth forests near my home disappearing. I read stories about unique and incredible animals that were going extinct, and I learned about the devastating effects of industrial agriculture and factory farming. I started to feel lost in all of what I thought were these unsolvable problems. And I knew I couldn't just stand by and not do anything. And it was this feeling that started my search for hope and for solutions. What I discovered changed my life. When I was 8 years old, my mom brought me to a 2-hour course on something called permaculture. Permaculture is a design system modeled off of nature and how natural ecosystems operate. But that might sound a little bit complex, so think of it this way. Imagine you're walking through a forest. Notice how no one has to water the forest, plant the forest, weed it, fertilize it, or really do any work at all to make it thrive. And yet, forests are some of the most abundant and beautiful ecosystems on the planet. This is because they have evolved complex, interconnected systems where nothing is wasted. The fact is this: nature always has and always will have the best design, no matter what. So what if we started applying nature's designs to our gardens, our agricultural systems, our communities, or our lives? That's permaculture, a design system modeled off of nature. Little 8-year-old me was fascinated by this idea, and I wanted to find a way to try it out for myself, to work with the land, with nature's designs, and learn more about how we as humans could actually become healing forces to the world. And that brings me to Fluffy. When I was 7, I was obsessed with chickens. My parents saw this as an opportunity for me to learn from my passions, so they got me a chicken. 3 of them, actually. This is me with Fluffy. My sisters and I built a chicken coop for Fluffy and her 2 friends, and my parents put me in charge of taking care of them. Over the next year, Fluffy's farm became a school project and small business that taught me about responsibility, math, biology, and so much more. My flock and my obsession for chickens quickly grew, and I soon had 15 chickens instead of 3. And I did my best to keep my chickens happy and healthy. But as I learned more about them, I started running into problems. I'd built their coop before I knew anything about chickens, which meant it was badly designed to meet their needs. They were crowded into this pen with barely any space to run around, they had no grass, and their manure created a mess that was really hard to clean. Because they didn't have access to natural food sources, I had to feed them a grain diet. It wasn't good for their health and was incredibly expensive, so no one was happy. When I started learning about permaculture, it helped me see the problem. I was treating the chickens like they were an independent system, keeping them apart from the rest of the environment around them. And this was creating a ton of waste. Wasted money, wasted time on cleaning, and of course, the chicken waste itself. If I was going to solve these problems, I knew I needed to look to nature for solutions. That meant creating a system that could turn all of that waste into something useful. There were fruit trees on my family's farm that were struggling with their own problems: pests, weeds, and lack of nutrients. I realized that the chickens and the trees might be able to benefit from each other. So I built a new, larger coop underneath the trees. This gave the chickens more space, as well as bugs, fallen fruit, and weeds for them to eat, so the chickens were happier. This also transformed the chicken manure from a problem into a solution. It became fertilizer for the trees. Fewer bugs and fewer weeds, along with improved soil, meant the trees were happier. And finally, I had more fruit, more eggs, and was spending less money on feed and less time cleaning out the coop, which made me happier. I had just created an interconnected system that supported itself. It was a win-win-win. The success of this project was super exciting and showed me that by changing my approach to design, I could actually fix broken systems and make them more beneficial for everyone. But it also made me wonder, why doesn't everyone approach problems this way? Why are we so focused on finding sustainable systems when we could be making things even better? I said earlier that I don't like the word sustainability. Let's talk about why. The classic definition of sustainability, written in 1987, says this: sustainable development meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So pretty much, sustainability maintains what already exists at a certain rate or level, which is good because it doesn't take from future generations and it avoids further depletion of the world and its resources. However, it doesn't necessarily repair the systems that have already been degraded or lost. If our best effort as a society is to maintain the status quo or to do less damage, that means we're comfortable with sustaining a world where intense droughts, rising sea levels, and fires devastate entire populations, as they're already doing today. If we want to keep living on this planet for generations to come, we need to rethink what's possible and move beyond sustainable development. We need systems that heal. We need regenerative design. Think back to my chicken coop example, okay? It was good for the chickens, good for the environment, and good for me. Regenerative design is an approach to problem solving that helps to create systems like these. Systems that are resilient, equitable, and that revitalize communities, natural resources, and even entire ecosystems. And while my chicken coop is just a small example, people all over the world are applying ecologically inspired design to all sorts of systems, from agriculture to city infrastructure and economic models. Here's an example. In 2008, a permaculture teacher named Jeff Lawton bought a patch of desert in the Dead Sea Valley of Jordan, one of the world's most water-scarce regions. Here's what the site looked like at the time. By using the principles of regenerative design, he and the local community transformed the area into a lush ecosystem capable of supporting plants, animals, and people. This is what the site looks like today. This project is called Greening the Desert, because it greened the desert. And it's a powerful demonstration of what we can accomplish by implementing regenerative designs. We can do more than simply reduce negative impacts or sustain Earth's damaged ecosystems. We can actually help to heal and restore them. Regenerative design isn't just about building a chicken coop or making a desert bloom with life. It's a toolkit that allows us to solve social, economic, and environmental challenges that often feel too difficult to overcome. I wish I could provide the perfect examples that would show each of you how to apply regenerative design in your own lives, but I can't know the individual challenges you're facing. However, I can provide resources to help you explore regenerative design for yourselves. I'm willing to bet that each of us has a problem that's close to our hearts that we want to solve. The tools of regenerative design can empower us to become agents of restoration and change, benefiting the world around us and maybe even having fun in the process. Learning to use these tools can take time, but the first step on that journey can be small. For me, it was about fixing a problem in my own backyard, but that project led me to others, opening doors to new communities, new ideas, and new ways of thinking that have changed my life. What could that first step be for you? The time is now. Ask yourself, what can I do to be a part of the regenerative movement that is happening around the world? Thank you.